Hello, everybody. It is the Saturday Ask Me Anything about to happen here. The pre-game warm-up, if you will. I'm preparing, stealing myself, retweeting the tweets, and catching up on all those kind of things. So give me one brief moment. Looks like we should have a good week ahead. A lot of the injury issues and things that we're worried about are kind of resolved. Some players ruled out, such like as. Well, that didn't work well for me. All right. I guess I won't retweet it because I can't find it anymore. Thanks, phone. Oh, man, we'll be going live on the YouTube here momentarily. As soon as we go live on the YouTube, I'll start taking questions there. And we are live. Oh, my gosh. Fantastic. Where? As soon as we go live on the YouTube, I'll start taking questions. And there it is. Let me just get ready here, folks. Hang tight for 1 second. All right, the questions are starting on the YouTube. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome aboard. I'll let everyone kind of get caught up. As you're heading into this week 8, get your Cardinals, Texans, Jaguars, and football team, Washington style, out of your lineups. They're on bye. All the COVID issues that we seem to have going on, there we go, I can retweet now, are in check. There are 3 games that, are kind of worth watching. The testing today was all positive, or all negative, I should say, all good for us. The Giants and Buccaneers, Giants had some positive testing earlier. Will Hernandez is on the list. The Vikings have had a couple guys test. They're good to go today. So that game with the Packers is on. And the Denver Broncos have had some issues, and they're good to go today. So some of the players are ruled out, include Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Chris Godwin, kind of the usual cast of guys that we've seen at running back. Anyway, Michael Thomas is out. Miles Sanders is out. Interesting, Allen Robinson was removed from the injury report today, cleared his concussion protocol. Philip Lindsay looks like he'll pass. Chris Carson's questionable, which seems odd. Dalvin Cook looks like he's good to go. So I know those injuries will create some issues for some of us at various positions, so we'll figure that out. And I'll start out with a quick Periscope question. Hey, if you're on the Periscope, go to the YouTube channel, the footballdiehards.com YouTube channel. You can interact directly with me. I get some of the questions here from the trusty Emil Cadlick is passing them along. So I do get some, but if you come here directly, I can answer directly, and I answer all the questions on YouTube before I'm gone at the end of the hour. A couple things, footballdiehards.com. It's a great website. You can get it for $12 for the rest of the season. And you can use the promo code Diehards when you order to get 15% discount. If you want to take a look, go to footballdiehards.com/free trial, see what it's like. It's a great deal. I highly recommend it. Lots of stuff up there. Great content creators creating great content for you specifically as fantasy owners. We've been doing this for a while. We know what you like, and that's what we try to deliver. So also hit the subscribe button on the YouTube. Share this video. Like this video. That gets us a little higher up in the algorithms and gets us a little more coverage there. Quick Periscope question before we get going. Any update on the Seahawks backfield? I have a couple questions on those. Chris Carson, questionable. Travis Homer, questionable. Carlos Hyde, doubtful. It seems to me that, and DJ Dallas is fine. I think we can say that we're not going to see any Carlos Hyde, so that helps us out a little bit. Look, I don't know what to expect from Chris Carson. It's a little odd to me that a midfoot sprain that he would be week to week would be an issue. I know I've talked to people, Michael Sean Duggar from The Athletic, who compares him to a Michael Jordan type guy, just a guy that will do anything, super competitive, and kind of a next level when it comes to physical issues. He's played through a lot of injuries. So it's a late afternoon kickoff, so you got to have a fallback plan. So let me get some of the YouTube questions. JJ Johns, thank you. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. And once again, hit the subscribe button here on the YouTube. We love you. Burrow or Josh Allen rest of the season? I'm probably going with Josh Allen the rest of the season. I mean, but look, Joe Burrow has been putting up tremendous yardage. My concern with Joe Burrow is nobody blocks for him, right? And they have injuries on the offensive line again this week. I do like him this week, but probably if I was playing it safe would be Josh Allen. I can't predict injuries or anything, and Burrow has great weapons. If you have a hunch on him, I think it's fine. I wouldn't talk you out of it. But I'm going to probably stick with Josh Allen. It's been a couple down games for him, I realize. I'm hoping to get it back on track. Paul DeSantis, assuming that Chris Carson is out, which you expect, do I start DJ Dallas or Justin Jackson? If Chris Carson is out, especially if Travis Homer is also out, I would definitely start DJ Dallas. I think that'd be a great play. Quick YouTube or quick Periscope question here. Fant versus the Chargers or Richard Rodgers versus Dallas? Now that Dallas Goddard is back, I'd probably go with Fant against the Chargers. And Dallas Goddard has been – a handful of guys today have been activated, you guys from IR. Jalen Reagor and Dallas Goddard. Kadero Hodge, nobody's excited about in Cleveland. And I'm missing one. Oh, Michael Pittman Jr. in Indianapolis. We're still waiting word on the 49ers upgrades. Tevin Coleman may be back this week, and Jordan Reed possibly. Okay, Kevin O'Brien, very interested in Fulgam. Any significant effect this week? I don't think so. I think I'm fine with him. He's kind of emerged as the lead guy there. You look at the target numbers. You can do that at Football Diehards, check the target share trends and all those things. Anyhow, I do like him. It's a great matchup. I'm not sure what we'll get from Reagor or Goddard will be significant enough to cut into anybody else's workload. But if it does, I don't expect it to be Fulgam. He seemed to develop really good chemistry with Carson Wentz. That'd be my expectation. On Periscope, okay, I got that. All right. So very interesting. Okay. S-Champ 21, full PPR need 2 from Higgins, Ayuk, Hollywood, Fournette, and Rojo. Wow. I'd like to play Rojo against the Giants a little bit. Ayuk against the Seattle defense seems like it'd be pretty hard to pass up on, right? Higgins, I like fine. Brown's tough matchup, so it'd probably be Rojo and Ayuk for me. Higgins in the third place. And look, we all know, what's going on, with the running back situation, right? For Tampa, I mean, Rojo gets first shot. If he gets a hot hand, everybody's good to go. We'll all be happy. But we're going to see some Fournette, likely third down back, and if he gets some series, it wouldn't surprise me either. Rick Brucewalas, hi, I think I did it right again, Rick. Would you rather have rest of season PPR Lindsey or James White? Lindsey right now. Bradley Madison, Gallaudet or Fulgam PPR? Wow, that matchup. I'm still going Gallaudet, but I'm not. I wouldn't call you crazy for wanting to leverage that matchup, right? So it's that close. We'd rank them both as wide receiver ones this week. And so that's something, you should keep in mind here. As I'm telling you these things, as we're working through guys that are maybe, in the same tier and everything. Look, if you feel like you have a hunch on a guy and you love the matchup so much and Carson Wentz is on a roll and Matthew Stafford isn't that great, I mean, look, it's totally defensible to play Fulgam over Gallaudet. I'm not, but you definitely could. Let's see. S-Champ 21, Mark Andrews, 16th among tight ends and route runs. Should we be concerned? Well, we should be concerned about that passing attack in general. Would like to see it do a little more. And that's an issue. I mean, we've always seen him, like even last year, he wasn't like, the king of snap counts, playing time, but he was the king of scoring touchdowns and he was the king of catching passes from Lamar Jackson. I'd like to see Lamar Jackson do better as a passer. Maybe we'll get a little better out of him as well. Fant or Goddard? I'm going Fant there. Tight end. I'm going Jonnu Smith, but I wouldn't talk you out of Gronk. They're both in my top 10 this week. Let's see. I missed one from Kevin O'Brien. Sorry, Kevin. Best 2 running backs this week: Josh Jacobs, Boston Scott, Jamal Williams, and Gio Bernard. Look, I mean, the run defense for Oakland or for Cleveland is pretty tough. So I'd probably go Bon Scott. So I'm ranking them Bon Scott, Williams, and Bernard kind of in that order. And I think that's fine. One of the things that I'm a little worried about with Williams, and we're splitting hairs here, so keep that in mind. We're hair splitting. But let's say the Packers get out to a big lead. Could we start seeing a little more A.J. Dillon? We didn't see, and I don't know that we will. We didn't see anyone, and we didn't see any Samaje P. Ryan or Trayvon Williams. We didn't see much Dillon last week. So my only feeling would be if they get out ahead. But I think Boston Scott's role is locked in. So I'd go Scott and Williams in this case, myself. The fan or Goddard got. Let's get to a Periscope question. Have Carson and picked up Dallas and Homer. Smart move. I mean, my hope would be that Homer and Carson are both out and Dallas has the clearest path to workload. Homer has a little more time and understanding of the offense. So, choosing between those two, I mean, it's not the decision I want to make because it's really, it's going to be hard to divine in advance. So I'd probably play Homer if that was the case, but maybe we'll hear something leading up to game time. By the way, if you go to footballdiehards.com, I have all kinds of tidbits like that overnight and early Sunday, whatever we hear. Connor, Jamal Williams, PPR. I'm going to go Jamal Williams in this case, PPR. Look, it's a tough matchup against Baltimore. They play tough defense, and Williams is going against the Minnesota Vikings. And it's PPR. And he catches the ball. Let's see. Fulgam or Kenny Gallaudet, PPR, Andrea. I went through this one before. I'm probably still playing Gallaudet myself, but I wouldn't talk you out of Fulgam. I mean, it's totally defensible to play that guy. We rank them 13 and 14 on the website with Gallaudet one ahead of Fulgam. But, they're both essentially wide receiver one level plays. So I'd be fine. There's, again, totally defensible. J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards and Malcolm Brown need 1 half-point PPR. If I was playing a Raven, I'd almost rather play Gus Edwards, but it's, you're doing a dart toss. You kind of know what you're getting from Malcolm Brown against Miami, but he needs to get the quality carries. So, it seems to be a two-way split there. So, in both places now. The only difference would be for the Baltimore backfield is there's a three-way split always, or there's an extra split because Lamar Jackson's going to get his cut too, right? So, going with the matchup, I'd probably go with Brown and avoid the confusion between the two Ravens. If I had to pick a Raven, I'd probably lean Edwards. I mean, I want J.K. Dobbins to turn into a thing, but I mean, just Edwards has been consistently productive with his carries. I mean, some of this is going to depend. You're making a touchdown guess on all these guys, I think, a little bit. Let's see. S-Champ, half PPR, need to note the kickoff times. Swift, Dobbins, Montgomery, and Carson or Hyde. Well, I'd avoid the Carson and Hyde. I mean, you've still got a late kickoff fallback at Montgomery. So I'm probably playing Swift and probably Montgomery. And if you want to play Carson or Hyde, or if you feel like Carson can be okay if he's playing less than full speed, or, we hear that he is close to full speed, make that pivot. I'd love to play Carson if he was healthy. Just don't know that he is. So I think you do have those options. Clayton Witt, PPR, pick 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. 5 players out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. I think you've covered your bases there, Clayton, right? Pick 2, 2, and 1, right? And you have 5 players, or no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I got to sit one guy. Out of that group, I'm probably sitting, I'm probably sitting Robinson, but look, there is no wrong answer there. This is kind of your call. Robinson for me. Hope the Cats are doing well this week. Thank you, Bradley. I appreciate that fine question. That's my favorite question so far. Let me check the Periscope. Remember, everybody, if you're going to footballdiehards.com, you get the rest of the season for $12. Use the promo code Diehards to get a 15% discount. Thank you. Will Gann 3. Kind of in a bind. PPR, James White, Kelly, or Gallman. God. Man, that Patriot offense is kind of a disaster. I might go Kelly in this one. Gallman is such a tough matchup, but Devonta Freeman has been ruled out, so if you went that way, I wouldn't talk you out of it. Josh Allen or Herbert in the PPR. This is a tough one. Look, I'm having a hard time sitting Justin Herbert, right? I'm going to go Herbert in this one. Guy's on a roll. He's killing it. So, and I think back to last year when we were halfway through the season and, you were still weeks we were trying to decide if we should play Lamar Jackson. And it turns out every week except when he played Pittsburgh, we should have. So, I'm playing Herbert, man. Big yardage, big arm, willing to throw it, has the mobility. That works for me. The Saints, I think the Saints shut down Montgomery this week. I do agree, Scott Kobe. Because everyone shuts down Montgomery. That passing attack is not great, or that rushing attack. The Bears' offense not great. And I think Cody Whitehair is not going to play, so they're down an offensive lineman as well. All right. Would I play Ayuk this week over Higgins or Fulgam? Not over Fulgam, but over Higgins. Hi, Brad Stewart. Holding your nose every week and putting David Montgomery in the lineup for the workload in a full PPR, would you roll him out again or sit him for Deontay Johnson? I'd be fine sitting him for either of those guys this week. Look, the Saints are tough. I just like to see a little something from this Chicago offense before I get any more invested. I do think, you can play him okay for the volume. There is a floor there. But, man, Le'Veon Bell is going against the Jets. They're horrible. I'm not really buying into the revenge narrative. There'll be an article up later today on the main page of the site in the late-breaking update section that kind of goes into depth in that revenge story, but what expectations should be. Deontay Johnson is just so heavily targeted, but I don't like the matchup that much. So of those two, I'd probably lean Bell. Would I sit Deontay Johnson over T. Higgins, Boyd, or Gordon? I could play Tyler Boyd. I think so. And look, Melvin Gordon, I think there's going to be a little Philip Lindsay. So, that split might be, a little difficult to deal with. So I could play Tyler Boyd in this one. And T. Higgins, is good he's going to have those huge weeks. I think Boyd is a more consistent play. So if you're swinging for the fence, it'd be Boyd. Fant or Trey Burton or Goddard, I'd play Fant. Connor or T. Higgins in the flex, I'm probably playing Connor still. I want the opportunities. If you're swinging for the fence, again, T. Higgins is the right answer anytime you like. If you look at your opponent's lineup, you think, wow, look at his projected points and look at mine, right? And you're way behind. I think a guy like Higgins is a guy that could give you a multi-touchdown game anytime. And let's face it, the pass defense for the Titans isn't all that grand. So I think he has a good matchup this week, and there will be volume in that passing attack as well. So that's kind of the split there. And some of these, I apologize if I'm not giving you the definitive answer you want, because I don't know if there is one. Kind of depends on what you need in a lot of cases. So Kevin O'Brien, best flex, Boston Scott, T. Higgins, or Allen Robinson. Probably for me this week, Boston Scott. Clear path to workload, Cowboys matchup. I like the matchup for Higgins. I'm okay with Allen Robinson's matchup, and I think he's fine. He's fully cleared, got through the concussion protocol quickly and off the injury report. So, and I think he's the best part of that offense. It's just not a great offense. Dominic Venezio. There, I butchered another name. Boston Scott, Ayuk, Corey Davis in the flex. I'd probably go Boston Scott there. I like Ayuk an awful lot. The attrition in the 49ers receiving room, no Deebo Samuel, works in his favor. So I do like it. I would like to play him, but I'm not playing him over Boston Scott. Bradley Madison, Latavius Murray, or Josh Kelly. Hey, all my Joshua Kelly shares are weeping with you, Bradley. I'm probably going to play Kelly. If you have a touchdown hunch, it's a pretty tough defense the Bears have, right? Maybe tougher against the pass than the run. So I just, it's a split workload. It might be my investments in Kelly that are talking here and my hopes for his success. I hope that's not the case. Just slight lean there to him. I wouldn't talk you out of Murray at all. I think it's that close. Thanks for your response. Malcolm Brown is available. Is he better than Kelly or Gallman? Probably yes. I probably would rather play Malcolm Brown than either of those two. Will Gann. All right, back to the YouTube. By the way, hit the subscribe button. You can share this video and get it out there and help us spread the word of what we got going on here. Hit the like button so the YouTube shares it too. And subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Do all those things. And go to footballdiehards.com and use the footballdiehards.com free trial if you're not already a subscriber. A lot of the questions you're asking me are answered in our staff rankings every single day. All right. And we're working. By the way, someone had asked last week, and thanks to you, S-Champ. Appreciate you coming. Someone asked last week about rest of season rankings. Our own Emil Cadlick is getting those up and running. We have the technology. We have the algorithms. We're making it all happen. Stay tuned for that. We'll probably talk about it next week. Okay, so I saw this question that brought that up, so I'll get to that in 1 second here. Umberto V, 5-point PPR, half-point PPR. Need 2 at flex, Jamal Williams, CEH, or Deontay Johnson. I'll take the 2 running backs, please. LP, who do you like rest of the season? Ayuk or Reagor, standard 12 team? I will need to drop one next week to pick up a quarterback. I think the Philadelphia passing attack is going to be a little better. I think I like Ayuk, the player, better, but I like the Philadelphia passing attack maybe better. So maybe a slight lean to me for Reagor. But, man, Ayuk is such a playmaker. That's a tough call. If I knew how long Deebo Samuel was going to be out, it might be easier. I'm gonna say I want to keep Reagor. It's a standard too, and Ayuk's a big play threat. Damn, it's very close, man. I'm gonna go with Reagor just because I think the Philadelphia offense just throws more. right? I mean, ideally, the San Francisco offense is much run heavier, so that's where I'm at, man. Rick, PPR, need to start 2 of these 3. Geo, Boston Scott, Jamal Williams. Thanks for that, Rick. Every now and again, I don't butcher a name. It's a rarity. So I like them in this order: Scott, Williams, and then Geo. And look, I mean, I think they're all capable of having top 10 finishes. So, I mean, you know, I don't think there's a wrong answer. If you have a hunch that's different than mine, feel free to play it. But that's the order I like them in. Brady or Tannehill? Tannehill all damn day. Although, look, they're both top 10 quarterbacks. They both have good matchups. Tannehill's just been so consistently good. It's hard for me to go away from him. Big article up on the footballdiehards.com website in the late breaking update section right now about Tannehill and what he's done over the last 16 games. So putting it as a full season as a starter in Tennessee, he's been phenomenal. So, and consistently phenomenal. And look, I like what Brady's doing. I'd have a hard time sitting Tannehill in this matchup. And also, just, quick note, there's no Chris Godwin, right? And Antonio Brown's not there yet. I don't think this is, we're splitting hairs a little bit because I don't think, like, Corey Davis is super high-end. But A.J. Brown is super high-end. The rushing attack is super high-end for the Titans. And but I think mostly it's like the top receiver for this guy, for Brady, is going to be Mike Evans, and he's going to go against James Bradbury. Splitting hairs again. So, thinking it through, Rusty B, 1590. Goddard or Higgins in the flex? Higgins for me. I think Higgins' workload is, he's a starter now. I think he's pretty solid, so I'd go ahead and play him. I think the workload is solid, and I'm just not sure yet what I'm going to get from Goddard, so I could take a wait and see on that one. I think I lost my spot. Give me a second. Goddard Higgins. There it is. Sorry, Bradley Madison. That's where I'm going. Give it a week on Goddard for me. I know it's a great matchup, and I'd like to see what he could do, but, how much they force him back this first week back. Could be a ton or not. All right. Let's see. Best Jay Lewis. Pick 2. T. Higgins, Ayuk, or Darrell Henderson. Henderson and Higgins for me. And I love Ayuk. It's a great matchup. Wouldn't talk you out of him over Higgins. But I just think the volume of the Cincinnati passing attack. Harrison Bryant is worth playing this week. Once again, we'll have no Austin Hooper. Ravens not shutdown kind of unit. And it seems like Baker Mayfield has a little propensity to throw to the tight end, or at least the one named Harrison Bryant. So yeah, I'd be okay with this. Okay. Kevin O'Brien, best flex. Scott, Swift, Jones. Scott given the matchup for me this week. One more week without Miles Sanders, I'm thinking. Steve Lindor. Hi, Steve. PPR flex needs 2. Harrison Bryant, Darius Slayton, Justin Jackson, Damian Harris, and James White. Good Lord. So Damian Harris is questionable. I don't know how questionable he is, but the Patriots offense pretty questionable. I do think James White's role, I think there was something going on last week that we haven't really heard about, right? There, he missed 2 days of practice for non-injury reasons, maybe some personal issues dealing with some of the aftermath of his dad's death or whatever. But anyhow, his role was nothing. I would expect him to have his normal role this week, but I'm just not inspired by that offense. So I would probably play Slayton. I mean, Justin Jackson, it was almost an even split. And what you're going to see with that Chargers backfield, there are going to be weeks that look like the Saints game, right, where Justin Jackson goes great guns and Joshua Kelly looks like crap. There's going to be games where Joshua Kelly takes the lead and looks, pretty presentable, as we saw early in the season. It's just going to be a hard prediction for me. So, but I'd have a hard time playing Damian Harris this week with the questionable designation. PPR. I mean, we're taking our chance on White. I'm gonna say Slayton, and I'll rank the rest of them as I would do it. I would probably still take the chance on James White and hope for a solid floor, but I think you get an equally solid floor from Harrison Bryant. If you want a little bit of upside, maybe it is Justin Jackson if he gets on a roll against Denver. Scott Coe, there you are. You've been on Periscope. Welcome to the YouTube world, man. Glad to have you. Are you taking the windy weather conditions into account this weekend for decisions? So Let's get the weather stuff out of the way. I'm a weather agnostic. It's football. It's played in the winter. Inclement conditions are part of the game. Points are scored in some of the worst conditions. That said, wind is one thing that does put me off a little bit, but I need steady winds of 20 plus, 30 plus miles an hour, gusts higher than that before I freak out too much. I mean, obviously if you're splitting hairs between two guys who are really close or you value closely, then yeah, go to the guy who's not throwing in the wind. But if it's, if we're talking like it's Ben DiNucci or Derek Carr, I'm going to take Derek Carr. All right, Big Dog, 12866. That's a lot of numbers, man. PPR, he has Ayuk and Justin Jefferson in, and now with Allen Robinson cleared, do I pivot to him? I probably would, and it'd probably be at the cost of Ayuk at this point. But, if you have hunches, again, Ayuk's matchup is so fantastic. We don't know how the backfield is going to play out yet. I keep refreshing my screen on the 49ers.com to see if I get some news on Coleman. But, I mean, here's what we know about the 49ers. They want to be run heavy. The pass attack often isn't inspiring. Will it be in this game against one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL, like the one giving up more yardage than any other? Yeah, it is kind of appealing, and Justin Jackson's appealing too, but he plays a secondary role. I like his matchup maybe a little better. Have an article on that. Adam Thielen probably facing the tougher coverage from Jair Alexander in this one. So, I mean, look, I sound all wishy-washy, and I am because I'm making decisions for you, or I'm helping you make your decisions, and I'm just trying to give you all the information that you can feel comfortable with when you make the decision. Allen Robinson has been rock solid, right? He's wide receiver 10, I think, on the year, or right up there, 10 or 11. So I'm probably playing him over Jefferson and Ayuk both. The question that comes down to Ayuk and Jefferson, I'm probably giving a slight lean to Jefferson, even given that matchup. And the matchup is why Ayuk is in this conversation at all. Okay. And it's fair. Look, if you went any of those combinations, I mean, I think these are all fair. I'm not sitting Robinson, though, even in a tough matchup. He just seems to be too good. Matchup proof, mostly this season. Brad Stewart, Deontay Johnson, Lev Bell, or Claypool? Deontay Johnson over Claypool, I think, every week. Talking to all the beat writers in Pittsburgh, and I've talked to about 4 different guys in the last 2 weeks. They've all said the same thing. Deontay Johnson is the guy who's going to have the Antonio Brown role. And we've seen that when he's healthy. He gets the double-digit targets every week. The consensus among those guys also says Claypool is going to have huge games, and he's going to have games like what we saw last week. He's not the primary weapon in this offense. So there may be games where the matchup really favors him, and it'll be a big deal. All that said, I'd be playing Lev Bell this week, given the matchups. I'm not that eager of playing Deontay Johnson against Baltimore if I don't have to, and Lev Bell against the Jets seems pretty appealing. Best tight end. So what you're saying is you want to play Jonnu Smith over Mark Andrews. I would co-sign on that. I mean, it's not that we rank them 4 and 5 right now, right? And I have Andrews slightly ahead. Some of this is based on the historical. We need the Baltimore Ravens passing game to meet that level. It's a tough matchup against the Steelers, maybe more so against the run, but a good pass rush too. So I wouldn't talk you out of Jonnu Smith again. Rank him 4 and 5. If, when you're asking the question, I'm guessing that you're looking to play the guy that maybe isn't the biggest name. So I'd be fine playing Smith. He's been a little hit or miss too, though, this year, and there are other weapons at tight end that worry me a little bit. I'm talking to you, Anthony Ferkser. I'm talking to you, McCoyle Pruitt. Those guys are irritating as hell. But anyhow, I think you're fine playing him. Playing Smith, if that's what you want to do. Again, rank him 4 and 5. Until we see the Ravens passing attack really light up, I don't know that we'll see Andrews really light up and reach his full potential. And so one of the things we talk about here a lot here and on my radio show on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, if you don't listen to it, I'm on 6 days a week. 3 days of football diehards, including tonight, 8 to 11 p.m. It's simulcast on SiriusXM NFL and the Fantasy Channel with Mike Dempsey. We're also on Friday night and Monday night from 10 to 12. You'll also catch me on Fantasy Dirt on Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. and on the pregame show, 11 to 1 with Jeff Mann. So you can hear more of this kind of idiocy there. I'm happy to dish out the foolishness. Best quarterback, Kevin O'Brien wants to know, Brady or Herbert? I'm leaning Herbert here. I mean, they're both in the top 10, so feel free. I mean, I'm having a hard time not playing Herbert right now. So the answer to every question might be Herbert. Even questions that don't have Herbert in them, I might answer Herbert. Best flex, Josh Jacobs or Ayuk. I'm probably playing Jacobs. I know it's a tough matchup, but I want to play volume in this case. If you're making an upside play or you need a swing for the fence, Ayuk in that matchup with Seattle, we all know how great that is. Gio or Le'Veon Bell, I'm playing Gio. Hi, Swing and Paula. Nice to have you back. I'm playing Gio in this one. I love, Le'Veon Bell's fine. Gio's not splitting. And he has a good share of the passing attack, or at least a reasonable stake in it. Hi, Steve Lindor again. Half-point PPR, Flex League, Montgomery or Marquise Brown. I'm probably playing Montgomery if you're looking for volume. My expectations are low there. But Marquise Brown, it's a tough matchup. And again, have I mentioned we have not seen the Baltimore passing attack come together. Now, I've heard people contend that with the off week, maybe they've done some things to fine-tune it, get it dialed in. I would like to see that. Maybe against a team. And, I just, maybe I'm overthinking the matchups a little bit, but I'm probably playing Montgomery in this one and hope for the best. Again, Marquise Brown, probably more of a swing for the fence play there. Montgomery, keep the expectations low, like what he's been doing all along. Look at last week's game or Monday night's game. Kevin O'Brien, Deep League, best flex, Henderson, Swift, or Beasley. I like Henderson. Kareem, how are you? Thanks for answering. Harrison Bryant, Richard Rodgers, Trey Burton. I'm probably going Bryant in this one. I think Burton's role is going to keep going, but that's, again, a little bit of a split there. I know Bryant's splitting with David Njoku, but it seems like he's been the guy all along. I mean, I think Harrison Bryant's the reason Njoku asked for a trade. Richard Rodgers, love to play him. I think he'd be great if there was no Dallas Goddard. But, I mean, I'm a little worried. I don't know that Dallas Goddard comes in and plays his usual role or takes the lead role, but he could. And so I think I'm just trying to avoid that uncertainty there. And it's a great matchup. I get it. And Rodgers has been – and they certainly support more than one tight end. I'm going to lean Bryant in this one. Rick, we're best tight end rest of season, Fant or Hawkinson? Probably going Hawkinson. Albert O's starting to gain a little ground here, and I don't know if it's his connection from college with Drew Lock, but the targets have kind of been sufficient, and that's probably the direction I'm going. It's not like a huge lean, but slight lean Hawkinson. All right, Dominic, thank you for advice. Who's the Tyler Lockett blow up guy? So is it going to be that's such a huge blow up. Nobody's going to be that big of a blow up. But Travis Fulgham's in position to be a pretty big blow-up, right, going against Dallas. I mean, any of the Cincinnati wide receivers, if you could pinpoint the one, T. Higgins seems like the guy who could have a huge game any given week just because of the volume of that passing attack, right? And A.J. Green's in that discussion as well, but I think Higgins is the guy that I'd kind of lean on if it was there. Who else in the big matchups? I mean, I want to say Ayuk. But I just don't know that the passing attack is going to take the lead there. It's such a fantastic matchup. But I guess I'll go with Fulgham there. Traded Carson and AB to an unhappy and worried Zeke owner. Thoughts on that trade? I'm an unhappy, worried Zeke owner. I don't know that I mean, I think you'd come out ahead. Look, I like Carson an awful lot. I don't know. That's pretty damn close, man. I don't know if at the end of the year, given the offensive line woes and the overall offensive line woes alone, that Carson, if he gets healthy quick, maybe even this week, doesn't finish better than Zeke. Bold prediction there, I said. So I don't know. And Antonio Brown's going to have some week-to-week value. So that I'm a worried Zeke owner too. I just think what we've seen is he's just been a little slow to start. I talked to my buddy Corey Parson over at SI.com. And he's a big Zeke guy. He thinks Zeke shows up out of shape, and he's still working his way into condition. He's worried about the offensive line, too. So I'm kind of with him on the offensive line part. It's a concern, and just the overall effectiveness of the offense. And so I think I prefer the Carson AB side of this one. Evan Ingram or Robert Tonyan? He likes Tonyan, like Funyun. It's been a little while since Tonyan did the touchdown thing, right? It seems like teams have adjusted to him. Aaron Rodgers said as much. Devontae Adams back, and he's hogging all the targets. By the way, Alan Lazard, we'll see if we get him back, looking for those transactions still. I'm going to lean Tonyan still in this one. just Ingram, man, the Jets offense in general hasn't been great. They need Ingram to do more. Maybe they'll try and push him a little bit. He had that horrible drop last week or miss last week. So I'm not enthusiastic about him. And maybe it's because I'm not enthusiastic about the offense. I'll take Robert Tonyan and hope for the best. It hadn't been a touchdown for a while, though. I get it. Should I drop Gallup for Rager? Hi, Bradley Madison. Should you drop Gallup for Rager? Yeah, I would do that. I mean, Gallup's role seems to be, he's kind of the odd man out. I think there'll be weeks where he shows up. I think Rager's role will be more reliable as we go in. Maybe not this week, but going forward. Kareem, also, can I start Deontay Johnson in a half-point PPR over Keenan Allen or Kenny G this week? You cannot. I'm not, I like Deontay Johnson an awful lot, right? And I mentioned the Antonio Brown-like role. Also, I'm mentioning that he's playing Baltimore this week. So Allen, to me, man, what a target monster. If that's what you're expecting from Deontay Johnson, you're getting that from Keenan Allen. I think the only game where he hasn't hit double-digit targets was the Saints game where he got hurt. So yeah, I'm sticking with that. And Kenny G, for sure. Blue Crew, PPR, rolling with T. Higgins at flex. Other options, Claypool, Rashard Higgins, Hollywood Brown, Melvin Gordon. Starting Thielen, Kupp, and wide receiver Montgomery, Kamara. I don't have any thoughts on the flex. I think that's a solid flex. I like the upside there, and there's some volume involved. So I'm with you. Look, Gordon, as a general rule, I have what I call the first law of flexology. Feature back over wide receiver every time. If Melvin Gordon had a true featured role, I would go with him. He does not have that, and I think Phillip Lindsay's going to be back. So I hope I read all that correctly. Umberto, with Goddard off IR now, start him or Fant or Tonyan. I would start either of those guys. Tonyan, slight edge to Fant, I think, right now. Look, we rank them 10 and 11, so coin toss there. I think over time I would rather have Goddard, and I love this matchup, and I know we all want to leverage it. And if you feel comfortable that he's going to come in and just assume that lead role and play a full share of downs, and Richard Rodgers isn't going to cut in, and I think we'll see two tight ends playing there. We always do. When this offense is working right. I'm just not sure what that role will be this week, and that's it. It's all about the uncertainty. If you have a better feeling about it than me, then I think Goddard would be the better play, but I just don't have that good a feeling. Pedro, he got destroyed on Thursday. I think a lot of us did, right? Hey, DJ Moore, yeah. Ridley and DJ Moore was a killer combo. Need to regroup your squad. 2 out of 4. Jacobs, Montgomery, Hollywood, Higgins in the rain, and Rager. It would be Jacobs and Montgomery. And, I think the thing with Higgins is I don't know that he's a big play threat wide receiver, right? I mean, he may emerge as that. I think right now he's what I would consider a high floor guy. He does have good chemistry with Baker Mayfield, and that goes back to last year even to some degree. But that's the way I go. And until I see what Rager's role is, I would love, again, to leverage this matchup. I think it's phenomenal. If you have a hunch, I wouldn't talk you out of that hunch. I'm just not there yet. A lot of times the guy's coming back, I'd like to see him. And he just came back to practice this week. So that's, I'm just not sure, where they, whether they give him the full workload or not. I do like what Carson Wentz is doing, though. And I do love the matchup. Just not sure what the role is. Do I see a run-heavy game for Tampa this week? I would expect that they'll have their way. And so assuming they're up and they get up and maybe Tom Brady and Mike Evans or Tom Brady and Gronk or Tom Brady and Scotty Miller or something will have something to do with getting up. But I think at some point they're going to be running down the clock. And, yes, there will be a run-heavy approach, maybe the second half. Scott. Mountain Man Mark, Jonnu Smith or Dallas Goddard? I'm playing Jonnu Smith. Again, same thing on Goddard. I don't hate to keep repeating myself, but I keep getting similar questions. So I'm not sure what the role is. So if you're more comfortable in the role than I am, I think there's plenty to hang your hat on, including the matchup and his pass production in that offense. Jonnu Smith also can be very good. He's coming off kind of a bad game, kind of left a bad taste maybe in people's mouth. Look at the games prior to that and see how that tastes. Nummy. Truman, Boston Scott for me. Slight lean over Williams. And I've mentioned this. I think the 3 replacement guys this week, Boston Scott, Jamal Williams, and Gio Bernard are all capable of finishing with running back 1 numbers. But I prefer Scott, Williams, and Bernard in that order. And there it is. The 49ers have activated Tevin Coleman off IR. So we have a little less clarity in the 49ers backfield. Something is just, I've been watching for this one because I thought it was interesting that John Lynch, the GM, said Thursday or said on Friday they gave Coleman the most of the workload in Thursday's practice. That's a big day of practice, right? So I think that's maybe it's a tell, maybe not. I mean, who knows? We'll all get our asses handed to us at some point by the coaching decisions there, as anyone who started Jerick McKinnon last week will tell you. All right, but that is news, so there you have it. Do I think Carson Wentz will run less when his weapons get healthy? I do. I think that's their ideal plan, Mark, would be for him to run less. But, man, he's been pretty effective running the ball. I'm kind of hoping that that's not the case. Robert Tunyon, I got to say his name right, Blue Crew. Rest of the season outlook. I think, as we get pieces back in this offense, Devontae Adams is healthy and obviously commanding the big target share. Allen Lazard, if he doesn't come back this week, is close to coming back. He'll demand his share. And maybe that'll make things easier and open it up for Tunyon. I know Aaron Rodgers mentioned this week, when he asked him why he hasn't, he had the little touchdown spurt, what's happened since. And Rodgers mentioned that, defenses have adjusted and they're accounting for him now because he was kind of a unknown commodity. So I think he's a viable play, and there'll be guys with more upside week to week. Mary Rizzolo, Herbert or Tannehill? That's a mean question. I love Herbert, but I'm still going Tannehill. Hi, that's horrible, Mary, but thank you for the question. Miss Kylie Mack, flex spot, 1/2 point, need one. Aguilar, Hasty, Mike Williams, DJ Dallas, if all the other RBs are out. Look, I'd be okay playing DJ Dallas if everyone else is out, and you'd have the fallback to Hasty or Mike Williams if you wanted. I'm not playing Aguilar. I think he's been fantastic, but, the role is kind of diminishing over time. We'll see if Brian Edwards is back this week. I don't think he will be, but even so, I think he's kind of Aguilar's third in the pecking order. It's been productive, I know, but I'm just trying to play the opportunities here. So it'd be, DJ Dallas if everyone else is inactive, right? I think, you're looking for the clear path to workload in what should be a good offense, right? And after that, I would probably rank them Hasty, then Mike Williams, even with Tevin Coleman coming back. Mike Williams can have big games. He can disappear in games. But I do like the upside. All right. As always, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it. The splitting hairs is the best part, right? That's the part we're all trying to do. And again, if you're new to this and you're going, who the heck is this guy and why is he telling me who to play? I'm not telling you who to play. I'm trying to, lay out the information that helps you make the right decisions. You're the one who's going to beat yourself up on Monday based on the decision you made. I will be nowhere around. You can come back and beat up on me next week if that's what happens, and I'm fine with that. Yes, Bradley, we mentioned Tevin Coleman was been activated off IR. Thank you. But I think, what we're trying to do is just lay out the information and help you figure through it. And I think sometimes when I get the questions, I know where you're heading based on how you ask the question or the people included in the question. And sometimes you just want confirmation that what you're doing is not crazy. I'll give you that as well, unless it's crazy, at which point I'll tell you you're crazy. Thank you, Kareem. Appreciate you listening. So, again, Bradley, I think one of the things that's interesting about Coleman being activated was what John Lynch said. Maybe you just tuned in and didn't hear what I said before, that he got the Aldrich Roses. Oh, no, not a big deal. Kicker news. Nobody cares. Somewhere Jake Seeley is wondering why I'm even mentioning a kicker's name. But I think the thing about Coleman that kind of intrigued me and pricked my ears up was on Friday when John Lynch talked about the practice workload, and they said they gave him a really big workload Thursday. Well, Thursday is a big day of practice for teams. They do a lot of installation, and it's their heaviest day of practice. Then they usually do a walkthrough on Friday. So I think it adds a lot of confusion to this backfield. I think before where I was really, going, man, I'm fine playing Hasty. Now I'm a little less fine. I'm just the uncertainty there. We know anybody. It turns out, who knew that Jeff Wilson Jr. was like the second coming of Raheem Mostert? Who knew Raheem Mostert was Raheem Mostert until he got the opportunity there, right? How many teams had he been on before he got to San Francisco? So tough backfield to figure out on a week-to-week basis. And I know when we have the beat writers on the show and we try and pin them down on the running back situation, none of them will ever commit to anything. They make the same mealy-mouth answers I'm making now. Mary Rizzolo again. Josh Allen, Tannehill, or Wentz? Would have to drop Allen to pick up Tannehill or Wentz? Look, I'm fine playing Allen, but I rank Tannehill and Wentz both over them in that order. I think we have Tannehill fourth, and Wentz fifth. And Allen still in the top 10. So, it's not a bad situation. Hey, thanks, Scott. I appreciate you signing up. Anyone else want to sign up? Rest of the season, $12. Football Diehards Plus. If you use the promo code Diehards, you get another 15% off. Also, hit the like button here on the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share the video if you'd like on your social medias, and that helps us out as well. That's probably as good as buying the thing, but buy the thing. It's great. And again, if you want to take a look before you make the purchase, go to footballdiehards.com/free trial, and we'll give you the tour, and you can see what you like. NJHS Hoops on Periscope. Full PPR, Justin Jefferson or T. Higgins of flex. Thielen is the other wide receiver. That makes this easy. It's okay to go 2 wide receivers on one team, but when one of them is, putting all your eggs in one basket is great if it's a really great basket. And the Minnesota passing attack can be a great basket when they fall behind. If they can keep in this game and run Dalvin Cook, they're going to. I think the volume of the Cincinnati passing attack has me leaning Higgins. In this case, just in a vacuum, I would play Jefferson over Higgins. But it's not a vacuum. You're already starting Thielen. And I like, Thielen might not have the best matchup of those two. So Jair Alexander, he's very tough. Just going to double check my rankings and see where I'm at on Higgins. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. So, yep, that's where I'm at. Nothing changes as I confirm my own opinion. Let's see. And thanks again, Scott, for signing up. I appreciate it. If Carson is active, Carson or Jermichael Hasty, damn, man. I mean, these are tough decisions. Maybe, Mark, you want to just check the website. I will hear things overnight from the various national insiders and local observers, and I watch these questionable guys really closely. And maybe we'll get some kind of inclination of what's going on, just in general, if someone has a good feeling about this or not. I'm totally in the dark. Carson's injury was supposed to be a week-to-week thing, right? And here he is, questionable in a game-time decision. I'd like it to be made for me. I'd like the decision to be made for me, and they rule him out. But I'm equally uncertain about Hasty for the reasons I explained when we were talking about Tevin Coleman with Bradley Madison. You're kind of working with a lot of mystery. If all things being equal, I'm playing Carson each and every week. If Carson's active, I'm guessing it's because they think he can do something. Could they use him as a decoy? Possible, but and look, it's not the greatest matchup for running backs. San Francisco is a little easier to throw on than run on. So, Carson over Hasty for me, and provisionally. Maybe we'll hear something. Check the website. I hope you're already a subscriber, Mark. If you're not, go sign up go get the free trial and check it out, and that way you'll have some overnight information. Trade Robert Woods for McLaurin? Yes, I would. I mean, the Rams have gone run heavier, and, while Robert Woods has some value, get it, and I think McLaurin will be just fine the rest of the year. Kevin O'Brien, best flex. DeAndre Swift, Ronald Jones, or T. Higgins, full PPR? Detroit wasn't playing Indy. Damn it. I'm probably going Ronald Jones in this one. Higgins is a reasonable swing for the fence play, though. All right. Noah, Hasty or Damian Harris? Coleman is back. Yes, Coleman is back. We've mentioned this a couple times. We'll mention it again. Tevin Coleman's back. Boy, I have zero faith in Damian Harris. I know he's listed as questionable. I like that decision made for it. It's a horrible offense. If I had to decide if it was my team, I'd play Hasty. I just don't have a lot of faith in the backfield of New England. And I have not much faith in the backfield or how the playing time is going to play out in San Francisco. So when you ask an impossible question, I have to give you an impossible answer, and all I can say is what I do. Totally my hunches. So you should play yours, Noah. PPR, tight end question. Robert Tonyan or Burton? I'm probably playing Tonyan still, hoping he gets those touchdowns. I do like Burton's role going forward, though, Steve. I think he's on the rise. Would you play CeeDee Lamb over Corey Davis? Probably not this week. Rick received a trade offer. His Noah Fant and James White for your Claypool and Lindsey. I'm rejecting that one. Yeah, I'm rejecting that one. I don't know if you come out ahead on either ends of that. So no. Also, there will be 35-mile-an-hour winds in Chicago well into the evening on Sunday. And who are you playing in that passing attack? Is it Allen Robinson? I mean, I'm probably still playing Robinson. So is it sustained wind? Is it gusts of wind? Chicago, Soldier Field, windy place. Windy City, Chicago. Football played there every week. for 100 years. So I don't know, look, again, you're probably asking the wrong guy here. If you're worried about the weather, take it into account. I am a well-known weather agnostic. It depends on my decision, right? I use it as a hair splitter. I don't use it as a determining factor. That's my approach. And yours might vary, Scott. Full point PPR, wide receiver 2 between Slayton or Miller. I'm playing Slayton, man. Miller's been trash. I mean, but plus there's 35-mile-an-hour winds. Just kidding. But, when you're splitting hairs, this would be a hair splitter. And I'd say, yeah, probably I'm going to go Slayton. And playing a quarterback between Josh Allen and Herbert. Herbert is the answer there, Willie. Thank you for asking. And I don't mean to rag on you about the weather, Scott. I'm just like, it's winter, man. Football gets played still, points still get scored. Pedro Resto traded Dalvin Cook, Alshon Jeffrey, T.Y. Hilton for D. Henry, Justin Jefferson, Tim Patrick, which I then traded for Latavius Murray. I mean, I liked it up until the Latavius Murray part, but I mean, I guess if you needed depth, sure. I love Tim Patrick. I wish he was healthy this week. Is the Baltimore defense a weekly set and then must play? I play him every week if I have him, and I do have him a lot. So, yes, kind of, for me. And look, they're not getting worse, right? Yannick Ngakoue shows up and they add to the pass rush that's already potent. So yeah, I think I think it's a weekly play. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you, and you have a great weekend too. And I hope to see you next week. Again, hit the like button, share on your way out the door. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. We love having you here. We do this every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And we hope it's helpful to you. Also, we have a range of other videos on the website, starting with Wednesday, our DFS lineup show to open the week with Kyle Dvorak and Jason Brady. Jason Brady, again, doing our pregame show with Emil Kadlik on Sunday morning. We have Jen Ryan's Prop Bet show, which is great for fantasy players, too. Really good information and in-depth stuff from Jen and Emil again there. John Lobb's DFS Cash Game lineup show on Friday nights is phenomenal. Again with Emil, John is great with the DraftKings Cash Games. You can read his Scholars DraftKings sheet of knowledge on the site as well. Kyle Dvorak's articles, great DFS. Early in the week, he does his tournament and cash game lineup breakdowns. I do my DFS 3 and out. Justin Lanero, Digging in the Crates, gives you the bargain prices on DFS. So tons of great content. Also, Brad Cruz, one of the best high-stake players in the land, puts up his sit starts, a Thursday edition and a Sunday edition. We have early week from Evan Tarciano, our waiver wire report. Kyle puts up his early waiver wire injury report. And we have Matthew Sharon check in with his dollar store free agents, cheap buys, guys off the radar. So tons of stuff and stats and lineup optimizers and My Fantasy GM. Why haven't you already purchased this site? I don't know. It's only $12 for the rest of the season. I encourage you to get on that. How am I feeling about Dalvin Cook this weekend? I'm feeling pretty okay about him. Waiting news on Carson. Yeah, I'm playing Cook this weekend in part because, look, he had the off week, but just, kind of reading the tea leaves. Gary Kubiak was really positive on his Monday radio show. Again, when he talked on Thursday, he said he didn't see Cook being on a pitch count. I think maybe that's a little overly optimistic. I think maybe there'll be times where they rest him and they don't push too hard. And game script will be a factor, but I like him. He's good in passing attack as well. So I would say, right now, CEH Cook locked in for me. And I'd probably play him even if Carson's healthy in this one. I think the San Fran backfield will be a 50-40-10 split. Scott, that is as reasonable a guess as I think you could find, right? And I mean, who gets the 40, who gets the 50, who gets the 40, and who gets the 10? I mean, I'm guessing it'd be Coleman, Hasty, and McKinnon in that order. But if it was Hasty, McKinnon, Coleman, I don't know. It could be anything, right? But I think that's, I think it will be a split, whatever the case. Sure, I don't have any Periscope questions there. We're good there. All right, everybody. Got a little bit longer, so get your questions in. Hit that like button here on the YouTube channel and the subscribe button if you haven't already. Helps us out if you, the algorithm at YouTube likes it if you like us, subscribe us, or share us. So do me that favor if you would. All right, Bradley, let's see. What do we got here? Oh, I need to scroll down. Blue Crew, thinking of placing Cup on the trade market. Any suggestions of equal value player in terms of a running back? This is very hard, Blue Crew. So here's what I like to do. I like to go out and I like to look at the other team's rosters. And I like to look at teams that have a surplus of running backs and maybe a lack of wide receivers. You can go, if it's on my fantasy league or pretty much any site, just go to the rosters page and kind of target some offers based on their weaknesses. I mean, I would probably think, you're maybe pushing it the way things are going right now to get a running back too. Maybe you wait and see if Kupp has one big game. Maybe it comes against Miami, and then you try and leverage that at that point. I don't know that he's putting up the kind of numbers that I feel like people would find super appealing at this point. So maybe get a big win and try and target someone like that. But that's what I would do. Go check the rosters, find who has a surplus of running backs, or maybe two running backs on the same team that are both viable, that they maybe have a hard time deciding between every week. All right, Scott. Sustained 25, Gus 35, 40. Yeah, sustained 25 doesn't freak me out, Scott. And I know, I'm being a smart ass and I don't mean anything by it. But so the Gus of 35 to 40, I mean, that's getting up there a little bit. So again, probably still a hair splitter for me, like the Miller-Slayton one. I think, aside from the fact that Miller's not good, if those guys if it was two other even guys, that's what I would take the win like that into account. More worried about the matchup, honestly, than the win, the pass rush and the Saints defense. Thinner running back, need two. J.K. Dobbins, just okay. J.K. Dobbins, Hasty, DJ Dallas. I'd probably list them in that order. I mean, the problem is the Dobbins decision has to be made early in the day. The Dallas versus Hasty can be made late. So if you need two, maybe you go ahead and play Dobbins. Then you wait until the late game and you kind of find out who's inactive for Seattle. And maybe if everyone's active or Homer and Carson are active, you can dial back on DJ. If everyone is inactive and DJ Dallas is the only game in town or he's just sharing with Homer, maybe that's the way to go. Needs one of these, says Rusty B 1590. Ayuk, Higgins, or Shepard. I think I'm probably playing Higgins in that group. I mean, so I rank Higgins and Ayuk 22 and 23 this week. All right, so I love the matchup for Ayuk. I just, again, if you've been here and you've heard me harp on this over and over, I'm sorry, but people come and go and ask questions. So I think the thing for me is the San Francisco passing game isn't the tip of their spear, right? It's the rushing attack, and ideally, if they could be totally run dependent, they would be totally run dependent. I think Ayuk could be a part of that, but I mean, the volume of the Cincinnati passing attack makes Higgins slightly more appealing. I think Shepard's pretty good, but I think he's down, more in the wide receiver 3 territory. I think both those guys, Ayuk and Higgins, are in wide receiver 2 territory. What play did Carson get hurt on? It seemed almost like he was benched for running a lazy route. No, it was. I think you saw him got hurt. I don't know exactly which snap it was, but I remember seeing the replay of it, and I think it was pretty obvious it was the foot. So it didn't look like an ankle or something else. I can't remember when, but I don't think it was a lazy route. I don't think you bench Chris Carson for a lazy route. I don't, Mark. I mean, he is a dominant force at the position. So maybe you're right. I don't know. Seems like a reach to me. Pedro, thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words. Blue Crew, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for digging. And the cats are well taken care of. Trust me. They're dressing up as cats tonight for Halloween. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for sticking around. Yep, that's what I think. Coleman, Hasty, McKinnon. Scott, if that's the way it ended up, I would totally be unsurprised by that, right? I mean, I think that, to me, that seems as likely as anything. Thank you, Big Dog, for signing up. Appreciate it. Hasty or Robinson, standard flex. Benjamin Garcia, is that Allen Robinson? If it's Allen Robinson, I'm using that Robinson, just for the reason that Scott's prediction. I mean, it's going to be that 3-way split at running back, and I just don't know which way it's going to go. If you have a better feeling for that than I do, go ahead and do it. I'd love to play a true feature back, especially in a standard league, but I'm probably going to go ahead and play Robinson because I feel like his workload is pretty consistent. Got a little more time. Get your questions in. Willie needs 2 between Scotty Miller and Slayton. I'm probably leaning Slayton slightly on this one. Look, I wouldn't talk you out of Miller either, right? It's such a tough defense for Tampa Bay. Maybe I'm being foolish and I have too much investment in Slayton. Without Chris Goddard, I could go Miller here. I think they're very close, though. Zac Moss, Darius Slayton, Goddard, or Dobbins. I might go Moss in that one. Jamie Shaver, need 1.5 point. AJ Green or Zac Moss. I'm probably playing AJ Green in that one. I think Zac Moss is coming on. I think it's going to start to happen. I wonder if it doesn't happen like it happened with Singletary last year, kind of eases into that lead role down the stretch, and we're not quite there yet. Singletary, he's an obstacle. I'm very irritated at him. He's not as productive as I'd like. And maybe part of that's wishful thinking, like, will somebody please be good in this backfield, not named Josh Allen, like Zac Moss. All right, Evan Ingram or Goddard, always thank you for asking the question. I'm probably leaning Ingram in this one, but it's a super tough matchup, and Goddard's is super easy. My only concern with Goddard, if I have any, is how much of the workload he gets in his first game back. He's practiced all week, and so obviously they think enough of him to elevate him. Richard Rodgers is also there. Is this matchup enough to get me to get past my concerns about workload? Might well be. Wouldn't talk you out of Goddard here. Choose one wide receiver to start PPR. Nelson Aguilar, Chase Claypool, Darius Slayton, or Scotty Miller. I'm playing the workloads here, the certain workloads in the matchups. So I'm probably playing Miller, Slayton, and Aguilar ahead of Claypool, because like Claypool is, there are going to be games where he comes up big and games where he disappears, like the one we saw last week, but also it's a really tough matchup. Also Slayton's matchup is really tough. So Aguilar, I think, is kind of a fading commodity. I think when Brian Edwards is back, he'll kind of diminish, but man, he's been playing really good. And I have high hopes for Derek Carr. You're tempting me here, but I think logic tells me Miller. No word out of Seattle could mean that Carson starts and plays. Totally true. I mean, we don't know, honestly. I mean, that's the best answer I have. Yeah, I'd play Allen Robinson in that case, Benjamin. Is Goddard playing? Goddard is active, so I'm guessing he will play. I would rather play Goddard in a PPR. Jimmy Graham's been great, but he's really touchdown dependent. So this might be a case where I lean Goddard. But Graham is not a bad play, and the Saints are, pretty tough defense in general. Thoughts on Allen Lazard rest of season outlook? PPR. Thank you, Benjamin, by the way. Thoughts on Allen Lazard rest of season outlook? PPR once he's back from me. So I think it depends on what you want, Blue Crew. I think Allen Lazard's workload is going to be pretty reasonable, right, week to week. Maybe a little more consistent than you would get from Claypool. But Claypool probably has more upside any given week. So maybe if you want to keep that swing for the fence play in your hip pocket, he'd be the guy to keep. If you just want that consistent producer to avoid getting you a zero, then probably that would be Lazard. All right, Jamie Shamer, one more time on the weather. I'm kind of weather agnostic. I believe football is often played in bad weather and points are often scored. So what I use it is when I'm deciding between guys that are really close, right? Just like when guys are really healthy and one guy is slightly less healthy. So you have a guy who's questionable but playing, a guy who's not questionable but playing, and I like them both kind of equally. I'll play the one who's not questionable. I kind of let the decision be made for me. I would do the same with wind. Like if I have two guys that are kind of close in value, one's playing in great weather, one's playing in not great weather, I play the one in great weather. But if it's like a huge disparity in the players, if I'm deciding, I think I mentioned, if I'm deciding between Ben DiNucci and let's say Derek Carr or a guy, and they're both, Carr's playing kind of bad weather this week, I'm playing Carr over Ben DiNucci, right? Just despite the weather, even though Carr has not been great in cold weather over the course of his career. So that's kind of where I'm at. I hope that kind of explains it. And thank you for asking. Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins this week, says S. Mazuka. My preference is Edwards. And I'm guessing, right? And I'm guessing based on the more consistent level of production I've seen with his carries. Maybe this is the week, we're all hoping, we all drafted J.K. Dobbins to be a thing. We'd all like him to turn into that thing. I'd like to see him turn into that thing before I have to play that. But maybe you don't have that opportunity. So maybe this is the week they decide, man, we got to get this J.K. Dobbins going. He's a huge talent. We invested all kinds of draft capital in him. Gus Edwards has been around forever. Gus Edwards also averaged 5 yards a carry forever. So that's kind of where I'm at on this. If they're splitting the workload, I feel a little more confident in Edwards getting something done with it. And I think Dobbins needs to show me a little more. Brennan Gear. Choose 2 wide receivers, standard: T. Higgins, Cooper Kupp, Nelson Aguilar, Darius Slayton. Higgins is one of them, and probably Cooper Kupp is the other one. Noah Fant or Dalton Schultz. I'm going to go Fant in this one. And thank you, Mr. Mazuga, as I butchered your name and horribly. I should have just said thank you, S. Benjamin was offered Zeke Elliott for Jonathan Taylor standard scoring. Heard Taylor, he does have a very favorable schedule going forward. I don't really feel like I need to trade for Zeke Elliott right now. So, you know, if you really think this Cowboys offense is going to round into shape and their offensive line is going to magically get better and the quarterback play is going to improve to the point where defenses can quit focusing on Zeke and all these things, I'd keep Zeke. I'd trade for Zeke. I don't know that I think any of those things. Cha, thoughts on Rams offense, wide receivers rest of the season seems more unheavy now. It is more unheavy, Cha. And I think Woods and Kupp are still going to be viable plays. I just think we need to adjust our expectations a little bit. Woods, you know, I think gets a fair amount of run in the rushing attack, so I'm kind of okay with that. I mean, it's not like high end, right? But he does get opportunities, and I like opportunities, especially when they're not passing as much. So, but I think you've kind of nailed this. I mean, as long as Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown, and yes, I'm leaving somebody out on purpose. Cam Akers, sorry, man. Come on, young man, get busy. So yeah, I agree with you, Cha. I think this is like totally a thing where, I mean, I think the top 2 receivers in this offense are great. Beyond that, you're pressing your luck a little bit, or not great, but they're solid plays. And thank you, S. I appreciate that. And thank you, Brennan. What's the highest scoring game this week in your opinion? I'd like to think it's the Cincinnati-Tennessee game. What else was there? There's another one. I think, man, there's a pretty high over-under in the Tennessee, or in the Raiders-Cleveland game, right? Green Bay might be pretty high scoring. Baltimore not. I think Tennessee and Cincinnati is the one that screams at me a little bit. So that's probably it. All right. What would you trade Zeke? Would you trade Zeke for Aaron Jones? Yes. As long as I'm getting Aaron Jones. All right, everybody. It's been about an hour. If you got 1 or 2 more, squeeze it in. Otherwise, go to the footballdiehards.com website. $12 for the rest of the season. It's like a bargain. Tons of information. Every day you get a week of constant flow of news updates and other information that will, background information that will help you make some of these decisions. Some of the information I'm using to talk to you now is stuff that I've come from my articles. So lots of good stuff there. Lots of good columns, videos, the Football Diehards podcast, myself, Justin Lunero, and Kyle Dvorak. So head on over there. Can you end every week by playing Jimi Hendrix rendition? I would be more likely to play Zach Wild's rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. Go Google that one. YouTube that one. My man Zach is killing it. Andrews or Gronk Hopper. I'm probably playing Andrews this week, but I wouldn't talk you out of Gronk. How tough is it that New Orleans defense against run, and do you think they can withstand the tough one in Chicago? Go with Montgomery over Higgins. Well, I would go with Montgomery if I wanted a high floor play, right? I mean, Higgins, and I guess we're talking about T. Higgins. I mean, T. Higgins is a great upside play. Rashard Higgins is more of a floor play to me, which Montgomery is as well, and he'll get more opportunities to be that high floor. But look, you have a hunch and you want to play Higgins, you are welcome to play Higgins. And I agree with you, Scott. Hunter Henry for a bounce back or unreliable Andrews. I'm probably still playing unreliable Andrews. Maybe that's my investment talking. Hunter Henry is a viable play. And look, his quarterback is great. Henry hasn't quite been on the same page with him as much as I'd like him to be. It's been more the downfield threats and the wideouts, but I'm hoping they get together. Hey, thank you, Scott. I'm glad you looked it over. Mad Hopper. Or Gronk Hopper. Okay. The Hopper thing is throwing me, man. I'm Tool of Rage. Come on, man. Come on, Bradley. Tool. I'm a Tool freak. All right, everybody. I think I got one more from Periscope here, and then we're going to get out of here. Need 3 standard scoring. CEH, Connor, Scott, Jacobs. Oy. I'm going to play Scott and probably CEH. I'm probably going to go with the matchups there and probably play Connor. I mean, both he and Jacobs have tough matchups, so I mean that's a tough one. Slightly Connor. So CEH and Scott for sure, even the standard. I know they aren't getting the passing equity that I'd like to see. Tool or perfect? Still Tool. I mean, I'm fine with Perfect Circle, but Tool is next level. Next level. They're playing checker. They're playing chess. Everyone else is playing checkers. I don't know if Dantzler is officially off or if he's going to be ready to play. I think there was talk that he could be off, and I know they've got all kinds of issues. Go to the site, check out the article I wrote on I think it was the Green Bay article I wrote early this morning. Kind of runs down the issues. And thank you again, Rick. Appreciate it. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, Dantzler came off. I wrote that earlier, so if he did come off, I haven't double-checked that because I've been talking for a while. But yeah, it's not a good backfield situation, not a good secondary situation, any way you slice it, right? So, not great news. All right, everybody, thank you very much for coming. We will catch you this week, same time, footballdiehards.com/free trial. If you haven't seen it, $12 rest of the season. Use the promo code Diehards and get 15% discount off that at all. And no, I don't think anything affects Devontae in this one, given his past history against the Vikings. And also, hit the subscribe button here on the YouTube and like this video and share it if you would. We appreciate it. And thank you very much.